Are you a content creator who feels trapped by Adobe? Been there, done that. I've got 3 free programs to tell you about. Before I went to college, my video editing consisted of Windows Movie Maker and free trials of Sony Vegas. My photo editing was with GIMP. And then when I did go to college, a whole 10 years ago, a tech school for video production, I was a little lamb soaking up every word they said. And about 95% of the programs I was trained on were Adobe. Premiere, After Effects, Audition, Photoshop, Illustrator, Flash, you name it. It was all Adobe. That was all I learned. And that was all I knew. My instructors never even mentioned there were other programs available. And I guess this makes sense since schools and Adobe have partnership programs and students can get a discount. But still, Adobe is expensive. Ridiculously so. Their options keep you at their mercy. For all the apps, their best deal is $659.88 per year. Okay, it's like, well, what other options do they have? They have the photography plan, which consists of Lightroom and Photoshop. Just that, and that's $119.88 per year. Okay, but what about Premiere? I need to edit videos, $263.88 per year. My whole deal was I wanted Photoshop, Premiere, and After Effects. That would have been perfect for me. But you can't mix and match. Either one single program, or you get the little photography bundle, which whatever, or you have to pay for everything. You can't mix and match. It's just like, it was not working for me. But in school, it's all about industry standard. You can't go below. Okay, I do enjoy Adobe programs. I enjoy using them. They look nice, they're easy to use, but ever since Creative Cloud came about and you couldn't just purchase the program, you had to do monthly or annual, the expense and lack of freedom wore on me. My life got to a point where I could not justify paying for these programs since I wasn't making money off them. I was editing for my own enjoyment. I couldn't afford it. So I canceled my membership. It devastated me. It felt like I was giving up this huge part of me just because I couldn't pay for Adobe. In my life, I have not been the kind of person who does thorough research about everything. And I am embarrassed to say that it wasn't until my husband enlightened me that I even heard about open source. I was amazed at the concept and I couldn't believe I had never heard of this before. So just in case you're watching and you are like I was, open source software is software in which the original source code is made freely available and may be redistributed and modified. So let's get to the programs. I use KDE for 2 great open source programs. Number 1 is Krita, and that is a photo editor. I'd say it's classier than GIMP, but clunkier than Photoshop. And it's fine for basic things, like you can do everything in there. For me, however, I do have trouble editing portraiture and color correcting and creating the kind of style I want in Krita. But I believe this is my own fault for my heavy dependence on Photoshop actions. And those are presets for coloring and stylizing. I relied so heavily on Photoshop actions and I defined my editing style off of them, and I have not been able to replicate that on my own. This is my own fault and it will take practice to remedy. So I would say if you have been dependent on Photoshop actions or the presets in Photoshop, Krita will feel a little lacking in that way. But it is good for all the basic stuff you gotta do. KDE also has a video editing program, Kdenlive, and it's great. It's simple. It reminds me of Premiere in the way you use it. Yeah, it's basic, but it gets the job done. I have had some issues during use that can be a little frustrating once in a while, but it's kind of like I have to work through it and figure out what I'm doing wrong most of the time. Yeah, so I'd say it's a very good option. Now, this last program I have to tell you about blows Kdenlive and Premiere out of the water. While not open source, there is a free version of Davinci Resolve. And unlike a lot of free versions of other programs, the free version of Davinci is incredible. That alone can do so much more than these other programs. Davinci makes Kdenlive look crass. Now, I had this program downloaded on my computer, but unfortunately, I let fear stop me from using it. It is very different than Kdenlive or Premiere, and it was scary and confusing for me to try to use. I had become very comfortable with Kdenlive, and when I would open up DaVinci, it was just a little intimidating, to be honest. But then I started using DaVinci for these long relaxation videos I was making. The performance was so much faster. My workflow was just seamless. It was just so much better. I was like, what have I been doing? Why haven't I been using DaVinci this whole time? Oh my gosh. The more I used it, the more and more comfortable I got with it, which goes with anything you're working on. All it takes is practice, right? Now I can't imagine using anything else but DaVinci. It is hard to get used to, but I definitely recommend it. The title options alone can make your video look so much more professional, not to mention the video transitions, their amazing color grading, and even motion tracking. There's so many things that I haven't even touched the surface on. So yeah, DaVinci is awesome. And this is just a brief summary of these 3 programs. Let me know if you want more in-depth reviews or tutorials on how to use these programs. For now, I just really wanted you to know that there are other options out there. You don't have to be a slave to Adobe.